Hello, I'm Alejandro Serrano from Active Dharma, and this is Thunderbolt, now as podcast. Today's episode is about how to express the Dharma in your own words and culture. The Dharma that the Buddha taught does not belong to a people. It does not belong to anyone, not even the Buddha. That means it can be expressed in infinite ways. My first teacher was an American who was under the tutelage of Tibetans. He learned their language and rituals and received the Dharma entirely from the Tibetan perspective. He possessed countless ritual instruments and sacred Buddhist paintings from Tibet and Nepal. When he gave initiation, he was always super orthodox, and for this reason all the Tantric Buddhism I practice is done in Tibetan. And although I have the liturgies in Spanish, my native language, I got used to performing the sadhanas in another language. Still, it is challenging to practice Tantra because it is not natural for me to think in an Asian language. I do mental juggling. I manage to recite the prayers while reading the translation simultaneously, and in this way I know how to do the practice. In addition, I have also studied the meanings of the symbols I visualize. None of these references are present in my culture of origin. But like my teacher, I surrender to a foreign system because it comes from a pure lineage. Only two people are between me and the source of these teachings. My late teacher, Lama Yeshe Nyima, and His Holiness Dudjom Rinpoche. The source is Padmasambhava, the enlightened guru who brought the Dharma to Tibet. The oral transmission of this practice has remained intact, fresh, and warm at the same time. This is why I adopted the Tibetan perspective. My teacher once told us that the Dharma would manifest in our language when Buddhas arise in the West. And it's true. Out there, I have seen one or two Westerners who are already verbalizing a Dharma with some Tibetan overtones and an infinite amount of Western references. These teachings are amazing. Ever since my teacher planted that idea in my head more than 10 years ago, one of my greatest desires is to realize the truth of the Dharma so that I can express it with the symbols of my culture. But I'm not talking about the culture of my country, although I'm not close to doing that. I'm talking about the elements that currently make up my identity. In other words, I want to express the Dharma with the music I make, the martial arts I training, my profession, and my relationships with my wife, parents, and animals. A few months ago, I wrote that sometimes I won't express the Dharma in Buddhist terms. I don't know if that will happen fully, but there are times when orthodoxy gets in the way. Now, to do this without corrupting or diluting the Dharma, the key is what my teacher said. You must first realize the Dharma to express it in the terms of your culture. When ignorance is released naturally into pure awareness, what is left is an expression that uses whatever element is within its reach, just as Mother Nature moves the pieces that appear in different ecosystems. Mother Nature expresses itself through precipitation, telluric movements, migration of animals according to the seasons, and chemical reactions in the sky, sea, and land. Likewise, when the Dharma is liberated within you, it will take whatever is within its reach. It'll take your language, culture, traditions, and customs. There is Tibetan Buddhism because the Dharma flourished in Tibet. Zen Buddhism exists because the Dharma grew in Japan. I'm not against practicing the Dharma of Asian countries. We can be practical and take what is within our reach to realize the truth of the Dharma. But for me, the goal is not to become a Tibetan Buddhist. The objective is to realize the truth of the Dharma through the Dharma that came from other cultures in order to express it through our individuality, society, and culture. Now, for anyone who believes Tibetan, Nichiren, or Zen Buddhism is not an option, because perhaps it's too exotic, I highly recommend the Suttic path. That is, the path of the suttas or sermons of the Buddha. Some will say that this path is slow, and yes, it can be. However, the advantage of the Sutic path is that it can be adapted to any culture, since the Buddha's words are universal enough to be applied anywhere in the world. From time to time, the Buddha mentions terms like samsara, karma, or nirvana. But when their meaning is understood, it becomes evident that it is possible to discern these same meanings in the daily rituals of our ways. For instance, the law of karma, meaning of action and consequence, is discernible at school, work, home, science, and even in other non-Buddhist religions. Karma is a universal concept. There's nothing strange about it. Although the term samsara refers to the cycle of reincarnation, if you think about it, this concept is not so strange within other religions or even atheist or agnostic views when we realize that our actions determine what our lives will be like. Even if we don't believe in life after death, it is evident that we reincarnate in different lives within this same life. We are not the same as we were as a child. We are not the same as we were in college or previous jobs. Those were past lives. We will not be the same in the future. We will reincarnate in another life before dying physically. I know that everything I say is debatable or refutable, and that's fine. The point is not to know who's right or wrong about this. I just want to show how the Buddhist teaching is like an open castle where everyone can enter and enjoy its delicacies, riches, and arts. But not only that, this castle is everywhere, and the jewels it provides manifest using its references from where the Dharma is practiced. The Dharma is extraordinary for that reason. So, to verify the truth of the Dharma, the Sutic path speaks of 3 trainings: wisdom, right action, and meditation. The first, wisdom, is cultivated by learning to discern reality accurately. That means learning to stop perceiving reality ignorantly and begin to perceive it as it is. The second training, right action, is cultivated by abandoning all harmful acts generated with the body, speech, and mind. Finally, the third training, meditation, is cultivated by learning to tame the mind so that it abandons wrong cognition and adopts correct cognition. Wrong cognition refers to the egocentric perspective of the operating system that fragments all reality. It refers to the stubborn tendency of our minds to cling to sensations of all kinds. Correct cognition is precisely that which stops being egocentric, stops fragmenting everything, and stops clinging to everything presented in reality. It is through meditation that one makes this transition. In January 2024, I will launch a meditation course where I will teach how to practice the Buddha's instructions in his sermons. And I will also teach other variants I have developed since I began practicing in 2008. The course will teach you to tame the mind, have more self-control, and slowly start the transition from wrong or ignorant cognition to right or awakened cognition. These days, I'm still offering a special founding member price, which will be the lowest price possible. When the course launches, the price will increase. If you're interested in the founding member price, write to me at alejandro@activedharma.com. May you realize the Dharma so you can express it in your own terms and culture. See you later.